Virgin. Live from Waterford and the Virgin Media Broadband Studio in Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead. Aherne. Today's top stories. Decision is yet to be made about the location of the Garda HQ for Waterford and Kilkenny Carlow division. Protests are continuing at beef factories, including ABP and Ferrybank, where farmers voted to end their picket last night. A 12-year-old boy was injured when his bike collided with a car in Waterford City this morning. And in sport, Andrew Conway and Jordan Larmour is expected to start for Ireland in Sunday's Rugby World Cup opener against Scotland. The Garda Commissioner says no decision has been made about where headquarters of Waterford's new Garda division will be located. As part of major structural changes within the force, the existing Waterford division will be merged with Carlow and Kilkenny. Waterford Oireachtas members and councillors wrote to the Commissioner and the Justice Minister to express their concern. Commissioner Drew Harris was responding to questions from Waterford Sinn Féin TD David Culnan.
The final decision hasn't been made, but a proposal has been put to me, but if I may just reserve that, because we want to look in around just where our divisional headquarters is going to be. But you make very salient points about what we should consider, and in effect we're putting a divisional headquarters in, and in part that is symbolic, but on the other hand we're trying to minimise that as much as possible by making sure that we have a good representation of command and rank throughout any of these divisions.
The Minister for Agriculture is making a direct appeal to beef farmers to step away from blockades outside meat factories. Visiting the ploughing championships in Carlow, Michael Creed said the reputation of Irish beef abroad is being put in jeopardy by the 2-month-old dispute. Pickets are continuing outside the ABP meat plant in Waterford, despite farmers there voting to stand down their protests. Some farmers have since questioned the legitimacy of the vote, saying it's now void. Farmers outside other factories, including Dawn and Granny and Carroll's Cross in Waterford, are expected to meet over the coming days to determine if they'll continue with their blockades. Minister Creed's urging them to end their pickets.
I would ask them earnestly to consider where we're at now, to consider the detail of the agreement, and I would ultimately ask them to step away from the blockades now. I think it is time to acknowledge that there is a bigger picture here. There are farmers who want to sell cattle, there's our international reputation, there's retail contracts.
78 farmers attended the meeting in Ferrybank last night. They voted to accept the deal by 47 to 31. Maggie Delahunty from the Independent Farmers of Ireland group chaired the meeting.
I'm not in a position to want it to pass or not pass. I am here as a spokesperson to bridge the gap between the government and the people on the pickets and to make their voices heard. I am then there to bring any deal back to them. It is up to them to decide. I am not a person on a picket. I don't have a say. I bring the deal back, I present it to them, I present the facts, I present the merits, and they decide.
This farmer reluctantly voted to accept the agreement in Ferrybank last night.
The proposal doesn't really suit us, but we'll have to go with it now. We don't seem to have any other choice. Other farmers are going to get ratty with cattle to get in, and so I think it's time to take the deal. Fed up sitting around this barrel here too at 6 o'clock every morning, getting up at 5 to be down here, and then to go do a day's work, come home, then do my farm work in the evening, and have enough.
Gardaí are investigating after a young cyclist was involved in a collision with a car in Waterford City this morning. It happened in the Lower Grange area at 10 to 9. The 12-year-old boy suffered injuries to his ankle and was taken to University Hospital Waterford. The Rivershore Sustainable Transport Bridge and Transport Hub have been granted planning permission. Waterford City and County Council says An Bord Pleanála has approved the development. WLR's Emer McKeown has more.
The development, part of Project 2040, plans to expand Waterford City by 50%. The Sustainable Transport Bridge, with a 207-metre span, will be suitable for pedestrians, cyclists and public transport, and will incorporate an opening centre span necessary to allow river traffic. The Transport Hub to the north of the bridge will replace the existing Plunkett train station and also allow for a new bus set-down area, short-term parking facilities and link with the new Waterford to New Ross Greenway. In a statement, Waterford City and County Council CEO Michael Walsh says An Bord Pleanála's positive decision will dramatically improve sustainable transport in the city. However, there's still no time frame for the delivery of funding for the multi-million project.
The British government has shared some papers with the European Union outlining proposals for a new Brexit deal. It comes as the Chancellor, Sajid Javid, is in Dublin to meet Paschal Donoghue. Our political correspondent, Sean Defoe.
Last night, Arlene Foster seemed to relax the DUP's position when it comes to treating Northern Ireland differently to the rest of the UK in any Brexit deal. But as Taoiseach Simon Coveney noted, it's a long way from concrete proposals.
They are anxious and concerned about the consequences of a no deal, as we are, as indeed all political parties are in Northern Ireland and the people they represent, because this is getting very real now. But that is a different thing from the breakthrough that's needed.
This morning, the UK submitted papers described as confidential technical documents to the EU outlining some proposals for a deal. European Commission spokesperson Mina Andreeva says they're examining them.
On this basis, we will have technical discussions today and tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the British Chancellor Sajid Javid is in Dublin for broad Brexit talks with the Finance Minister Paschal Donoghue, the third time they've met in recent weeks. It shows an intensification of talks, but time is running out, with the Finnish Prime Minister this morning warning the UK that there needs to be concrete plans by September 30th, or, as he said, it's over. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
A County Waterford hotel, which had applied to retain a marquee on its grounds, has been refused permission by the local authority. The Haven Hotel in Dunmore East has a 330 square metre marquee on its front lawn, which can seat up to 250 guests for weddings and other events. The council ruled that the marquee had a negative visual impact on the protected hotel building, as well as being out of character with development in the area. They highlighted the noise disturbance to existing neighbours, as well as the lack of car parking spaces to cater for the additional guests. Submissions in support of the marquee included a petition signed by locals, guests and visitors, which was 101 pages long, as well as letters of support from 24 businesses and 37 individuals. Sinn Féin councillor and Dunmore East resident Jim Griffin spoke to Damien Tiernan on Daisha today. He says the hotel will be appealing the decision.
Some people that might have weddings there or functions in the very near future would be safe for several weeks for an appeal to go through. But I suppose the onus would be on myself as a councillor and several other councillors to try and talk on behalf of the Haven Hotel and see can we change this decision for the common good of Dunmore East and Waterford in general with regards to tourism.
Waterford MEP Grace O'Sullivan will join local climate activists tomorrow as part of the global Fridays for Future movement. It encourages students to skip school to demand action on climate change. This time, students have been asking adults to join them at Friday's rallies. The Green Party MEP says she'll protest with the students in Waterford to highlight the urgent need to tackle the growing threat of climate meltdown.
In places like Waterford, people will gather and they will carry banners and protest, and in our case we'll be walking down to the City Hall to say to the elected reps there and to the council that action in Ireland has to happen on climate and on biodiversity loss, and that enough words, now we want to see measurable action. And then I'll be joining them as the Ireland South MEP in solidarity to support the principles of real sustainability and real solidarity.
The CEO of Waterford Hospice says they'll always need to fundraise. Thousands of euro has been raised for the charity at coffee mornings across the city and county today. €60,000 was raised last year alone, with all money collected locally staying local. It comes as the Health Minister is due to meet with the Oireachtas members from Waterford next week to discuss the opening of the South East Palliative Care Centre. Jeanette Connolly says they're also still fundraising for that new unit.
We haven't reached the target for the building. We've more to go there. And then also we've always year on year got the commitment of the home care services, so we just have to keep fundraising. We'll always be fundraising, but people can see it's for a very, very good cause, and we make sure that the money is well spent.
WLR Sport.
Very good afternoon, I'm Gavin. Whelan. First rugby, and Andrew Conway and Jordan Larmour are expected to start for Ireland in Sunday's Rugby World Cup, a Pool A opener against Scotland. Keith Earls and Rob Kearney have been recovering from injuries this week, and Conway is being tipped to play at full-back with Larmour on the wing if Earls is not fit to start. Head coach Joe Schmidt will reveal he's starting 15 tomorrow morning. Back row CJ Stander feels the squad are well prepared going into the tournament.
Unbelievable pre-season, good break and then a great pre-season. A few good warm-up games to learn where we are and what we need to do. So I think we're getting to that stage now where we we're training very well as a squad and training and hopefully this weekend play very well. So it's all about looking after the body and make sure we've got a fresh squad of 31 so we can go. I think we're in a good space.
Next to news of soccer, and Wolves play in the main draw of a European competition later for the first time since 1980. They take on Portuguese side Braga in the opening game of the Europa League group stage at Molineux. Teenage striker, meanwhile, Mason Greenwood will start Manchester United's home tie against Astana of Kazakhstan. Arsenal begin their third successive campaign in the competition with a tricky trip to Germany to face last season's semi-finalists Eintracht Frankfurt. Celtic are in France to take on Rennes after their Champions League exit, while Glasgow rivals Rangers are at home to Dutch side Feyenoord. Staying with soccer and to the domestic action, Waterford FC go into Friday night's clash against Dundalk in fine form following a number of wins on the trot. The sides clash for the fifth time this season when they go head to head at the RSC tomorrow night in the Airtricity League Premier Division. Tom Holland, who joined the club during the summer, says it will be a tough task against the league champions.
Big game. Obviously we played them the other week and a disappointing result, but I thought second half we played well, so hopefully we can play like that again and hopefully get a more positive result. It's obviously going to be a tough game. That's the first time I've seen Dundalk. They're a very good team, but we'll see what happens.
Tom was the hero on Friday night when he struck a brilliant goal 4 minutes from time to give the Blues a 2-1 win away to Bohemians.
Really happy. Great to get the win, and obviously personally to get the goal. My first goal since I've been there, so yeah, really happy. I hadn't played since the Hearts game, so it's obviously nice to play again, and then to get the goal was brilliant.
Kick-off there at the Kilbarry venue, 7:45. Matt Keane will have updates across the evening here on WLR. In Gaelic Games, Clare's hurlers will be without Peter Duggan for the 2020 season. The forward is set to relocate to Australia and says he plans to stay there for a year. Duggan won an All-Star in 2018 and was part of the All-Ireland winning side of 2013. Meanwhile, Armagh's Ross McQuillan has signed for AFL club Essendon as an international rookie. He'll join Tyrone's Conor McKenna at the Bombers and is set to move to Australia next month. McQuillan, who has played basketball for Northern Ireland, has agreed a contract even until the end of the 2021 season. And in golf, Open champion Shane Lowry is 1 under par through 15 holes of his opening round at the BMW PGA Championship. Rory McIlroy, who is in Lowry's group, is 1 over, while Padraig Carrington is 2 over after 16. Matt Wallace leads at Wentworth. He's 6 under with 4 plays left to play. That's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin is